Now, a recent tragedy in a grain bin causes us to reflect on safety. Plus, why it's a forgettable wheat harvest for some. Later, the FBI warns China may try to steal crop innovation, and we say goodbye to Kent Boughton. It's time to grow. Two central Nebraska public power utilities that both serve farmers discuss a merger. But as NTV's Taylor Leverett reports, some have mixed feelings.
Two central Nebraska power districts plan to merge, but some residents say if it isn't broke, don't fix it. A room full of water users as the group Citizens Opposed to the Merger held a listening session.
We're hoping that they could just not merge.
The meeting featured speakers from local boards against the merge of the Central Nebraska Public Power and Irrigation District and the Dawson Public Power District. Points brought up by speakers included the cost of the merge and whether that would be reflected on the bills of water users. The Nebraska Examiner says the two districts say merging would save them $12 million in electrical purchases over a 7-year span. A question speakers posed was why farmers were not given a voice in the decision.
My opposition to the merger at one point would be board representation. I just feel like we need to keep local control of that irrigation district.
Meetings were held in the past by the power districts for farmers to attend. The other side to the coin is those for it, like retired farmer and CNPPID board member Dave Nelson. He says while both sides have their opinions, the common idea,
everybody wants the best thing for the water users to keep irrigation. It's just a matter of how do we do it.
Both districts say the merge will provide more reliable energy during peak demand. If the merge wins state approval, the new district will be called Platte River Public Power and Irrigation District. Now, despite the opposition, the merge will happen. A special meeting for each boards is set to take place to vote on the required documents for consolidation this Monday, July 17th. Reporting, I'm Taylor Leverett.
Given recent conversations, Central Nebraska Public Power and Irrigation District now telling us they will delay the meeting scheduled for July 17th. Dawson Power also delaying its meeting till later this month, saying that they want to further support these conversations. Switching gears, pummeled by hail or beaten down by markets, this year has been a forgettable one for many Nebraska wheat growers.
Not quite as much.
Those amber waves of grain used to cover hundreds of acres on Joe Mazur's farm. Harvest would take days, but this year, done in an afternoon.
A couple hours. We have about 30 or 35 acres.
Joe says winter wheat is getting harder to find in south central Nebraska.
Yeah, there's just not as much wheat as there used to be.
As farmers have adopted irrigation, Joe says corn and soybeans make more sense. And then there are the markets.
And price-wise, it's not as good, and it's just down to the bottom line with economics.
It's been a downtrending market, really.
Those who follow the market say the crop in the northern plains was rough a few years ago. Then Russia invaded Ukraine to cap off what was a multi-year bull run.
And that just shot wheat prices up to crazy high levels. And really, since the market realized that, that didn't really disrupt the world trade for wheat as much as it had maybe expected. Since last summer, we've really just been in a downtrend in this wheat market.
Nebraska farmers planted more wheat this year. Some, however, was hailed out. Others have suffered from drought and may bale wheat as cattle feed.
This year, we haven't even had an alfalfa crop. It's been so dry.
Wheat harvest comes like clockwork in this area, always around the 4th of July.
Part of life, it's, fireworks and family.
But as he wraps up wheat harvest, he could use some moisture if he's going to have a hay crop.
Let it rain.
Let it rain. There you go.
For many farmers, it's their worst fear, being trapped in a grain bin. Now first responders learn how to improve their response. NTV's Taylor Leverett has our story. As you scout cornfields, cyber attacks and terrorism may seem worlds away, but the FBI cautions the threat is real. Chinese nationals may not be stealing blueprints for new weapons systems in Nebraska, but they may be looking for crop and cattle genetics.
People working on behalf of foreign adversaries are trying to steal our innovation in the agricultural arena. And a lot of the reason for our success in our country is because of the innovation. It takes millions and millions of dollars to develop the seeds we use, the hybrids we use, the fertilizers we use.
Threats to the state include traditional crimes like bank robbery, drugs, and human trafficking. But a growing concern is the threat to farming and ranching.
You know, our ability to grow food, feed, biofuel, to ensure our nation's supply of food is critical to our nation's wellness and well-being.
The FBI recently teamed up with Farm Bureau to host its first ever symposium on these risks, an event they plan to hold annually.
So we really value the partnerships we have with the Nebraska Farm Bureau.
Russia, North Korea, and Iran are concerns, but one country stands alone.
One of the greatest illegal transfers of wealth in the history of the world, in terms of the innovation that's been stolen from our country, from our private sector, by the government of China.
In Iowa, a Chinese man went to prison for stealing seeds, an investigation that covered 6 states and thousands of miles. The investigation found Chinese conspirators were gathering seeds from across the Midwest, and then there's the information someone could collect without going to a farm, but by hacking.
Right, you can think of a foreign adversary had data on all of our farms about what the yield was going to be this year.
The FBI asks folks to call whether they suspect a homegrown extremist, human trafficking, or theft of our agricultural technology, telling Nebraskans the FBI is here.
They think we're in New York, we're in D.C., maybe L.A. They don't always know that we're in North Platte, or Grand Island, or Lincoln, or even Omaha.
Hastings fire crews battle a structure fire near Prosser. NTV's Kent Boughton spoke with the owner of the building.
I spoke with the owner, Amy Schutte, and she tells me this is a devastating situation.
Today was supposed to be a regular day for Amy Schutte, but it turned into a nightmare. Her property hit by a roaring blaze that devastated her farm equipment stored inside her family's mechanical shop. And she says the total loss is huge.
Tractors, combine, sprayer, there's just trucks, pickup trucks, anything, ATVs were in there. So just a lot of everything that has to do with our farming operation.
It is not known at this time what caused the devastating fire. Yet Schutte is grateful for the way firefighters responded to her home.
They did a great job. Like I said, they came together nicely, and they all did what they could as quickly as they could with the means of what they had to do. So everybody's been really helpful, and so I saw the team work with them, all of those firefighters working together from different places. So thank you for all of that.
Losing key pieces to their livelihood can be soul-crushing for anyone. However, the family and Junietta's spirits are still soaring high.
Well, we've got to keep going. God's in charge, so we've got to keep going. He'll supply. It's all good.
Another loss was a day of operations for Bella Design and Decor due to the blaze. However, the establishment will be back open Thursday. For NTV News, I'm Kent Boughton.
Up next, problem pests and how to deal with them. And later, he's no pest. He's our own Kent Boughton, and we're saying our goodbyes.
This portion of NTV's Grow is sponsored by Acres Equipment, solutions for every field. Acres has what you need to get the job done.
We spoke with Dr. Julie Peterson of Nebraska Extension, based in North Platte, looking at why exactly western bean cutworm is such a concern.
Yeah, so western bean cutworm, they will hatch out of those egg masses. The young caterpillars will first feed up on the tassel tissue, and then they make their way down to the developing ear and corn. That's where they really can do their damage. They both will feed on the developing ear and reduce quantity of yield, but they can also bring in fungal infections and reduce quality as well. Okay. So in some of our areas, like here in North Platte, we've had more rain than usual. We might be more susceptible to things like ear rots and mycotoxins, and the caterpillar coming in and feeding on the ear can really make the plant vulnerable to that.
Gotcha. Next week, we're going to go in depth with Julie as we talk about scouting fields and also the data available for anyone that can help us make decisions as we deal with western bean cutworm. Up next, Kent's final Grow Weather Outlook.
NTV's Grow Weather is sponsored by Acres Equipment, solutions for every field. Acres has what you need to get the job done.
A nice improvement in the drought monitor this week. Still the worst drought in the country across Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri not faring that well either. In Kansas, down to 3.5% drought-free, primarily the western part of the state. 96.5% abnormally dry, moderate drought, 82%. 55.25% severe, 33 1/3 extreme. Exceptional is 5.63%. Gaining ground in Nebraska, 22.5%. Northwest, western Nebraska, southwest part of the state, there is that improvement. 22.5% drought-free, abnormally dry, down to 77.5%, moderate 68%, severe 48%. The extreme still up there at 22%. Exceptional, though, this week down to 5%. As long as we keep getting the rains, it will continue to improve. This is my last grow report. A lot of you may or may not know, we moved my family from northern North Dakota when I was 6 years old to Grand Island. And my dad was a farm implement dealer in the Grand Island area. Boughton Equipment Incorporated sold Ellis Chalmers' New Idea, Steiger tractors, and sold the first Melrow Bobcat in Nebraska. So we've been here ever since. And I will continue to show you. It was hot when we moved down here in Nebraska. I'll never forget June. Here's what July looks like. Temperatures above normal. And the good news is normal precip for the rest of the month, above normal up north. Equal chances of temperatures being right where they should be for most of Nebraska, northern Kansas, otherwise above normal, the 3-month outlook. And the best thing going above normal for the 3-month outlook. When we moved here in that summer of, well, it was 1964, 65, the locusts, the cicadas, I'll never forget that. And then my wife and I, Lori, moved back to Nebraska after doing television all over the place, and we moved to a farm. We were on 2 different farms southwest of Grand Island for 43 years. I miss the farm. Marcy and I still have a cornfield across the road from the house where we will enjoy this forecast with you all next week, because I won't be here showing you these temperatures. It warms up Wednesday to 90, cooling down Friday to 83. Our average, 87 for a high, 82 the low. Next week, 86 will be our average high, 60 for the low, so not too far off. My grandpa Mickelson, who farmed in northern North Dakota, the Boughtons farmed a mile north of my mom's family. And my dad and mom knew each other from the time they were babies, basically. Well, Grandpa Mickelson had this proverb, and it was, when seagulls circle in the sky, you can expect rain to follow. How true that is. I will miss this weekly report. Steve White does an amazing job covering the ag beat across Nebraska, one of the best. That is your Grow Report for this week. Join Kyle Kleckner next time as we continue to watch things grow.
We want to see your photos, especially those from your county fair. Keep them coming. Go to our website, nebraska.tv, and chime in. A record number of kids come together for the longest running event of its kind in the nation. Coming up, how agriculture is the common bond.
Ag Innovations is sponsored by Acres Equipment, solutions for every field. Acres has what you need to get the job done.
Agriculture is the common thread that unites these young Nebraskans who want to make a difference for the future. Singing their hearts out with future lifelong friends. It's what drew Caleb Senf when he was in high school.
It was best week of my summer. I would put that ahead of almost everything that I did throughout high school.
He's now a counselor for NAYI, the Nebraska Agricultural Youth Institute, saying he wants to make a difference the way someone did for him.
Helping push me and get me out of my comfort zone, I wouldn't be where I am today.
From Axtell to Utan, a record number of kids are taking part.
And having the opportunity to bring so many kids to teach about the #1 industry in the state is huge.
The state has dozens of high-wage, high-demand jobs in fields related to the science and business of agriculture.
I've just got a ambition for ag, and I want to go into ag in the future, and just to give myself experience and connections at this camp is going to really do me good things. So
I wanted to go into business management, and then last year I came to NAYI, and I totally switched up my thing, and I'm like, let's do ag business.
At 52 years, it's the longest running program of its kind in the nation, organized by the State Department of Agriculture. Some have gone on to become national leaders, but it all started with a week like this.
To be a part of something bigger than myself and being able to serve the Nebraska youth and agriculture.
As we close, we're celebrating our 10th anniversary on Grow this year. And all 10 years, Kent Boughton has been there, delivering our Grow weather outlook and his proverb. We wish him the best in his retirement. We're going to miss him, but still enjoy that friendship we know that will continue. We'll see you next time.
NTV's Grow is brought to you by Aurora Cooperative. Tougher together, Aurora and you.